Thank you, Majorities, and good afternoon to all of you. Thank you also for your patience, which is a critical virtue for any negotiation.
Would be for us.
Ladies and gentlemen, David and I and our teams just finished a few minutes ago the second round of negotiations. In our first round in June, we agreed on the organization of the negotiations. Our second round, which began on Monday, was about the presentation of our respective positions. Our objective was to start working on substance and also continue building trust between us. I said last week that I wanted to identify the points where we agree and the points where we disagree. This was possible this week for the issues on which there was a clear British position. Mesdames et Messieurs,
ladies and gentlemen, on substance. First of all, the issue of citizens' rights. This is a priority shared by the European Union, the 27 member states, the European Parliament, and of course the United Kingdom. The detailed British position has made it possible for us to start identifying, as I said, points of convergence and of divergence. And we are now all moving forward in a common direction. There does remain one fundamental divergence on the way in which such rights would be guaranteed, and on several other points, for example, the rights of future family members or the export of certain social benefits. In the withdrawal agreement itself, citizens must be able to find the legal certainty which they need for their day-to-day lives. Quite frankly, as far as we are concerned, we can see no other way in which we can guarantee the permanent continuation of such European rights as exercised. And clearly, any reference to European rights imply their oversight by the Court of Justice of the European Union. Therefore, at the next negotiating session, we must clarify the reasons for those divergences while constantly remembering our common objective that those citizens may continue to live as they do today. Now on the financial settlement. Last week, the United Kingdom recognized the existence of obligations vis-à-vis the Union beyond the date of withdrawal and the need to settle those obligations, as the European Union itself had also already recognized. And clearly, only with that recognition is it possible to start as quickly as possible work on identifying exactly which obligations must be settled. The EU position was made public on May the 29th. It is the result of a review of all of the commitments which, from our point of view, must be covered by the withdrawal agreement. And this week, together, we have provided a detailed legal analysis of these commitments. As I said very clearly to David, a clarification of the UK position is indispensable for us to negotiate and for us to make sufficient progress on this financial dossier, which is inseparable from the other withdrawal dossiers. What we want, and we're working on this, is an orderly withdrawal for the United Kingdom as decided. And an orderly withdrawal means that accounts must be settled. We know that that agreement will not be achieved through incremental steps. As soon as the United Kingdom is ready to clarify the nature of its commitments, we will be prepared to discuss this with the British negotiators.
On Ireland, we had a first discussion on the impact of Brexit on two key subjects, the Good Friday Agreement and the Common Travel Area. We agree that the important issue of the Good Friday Agreement between Ireland and the UK in all its dimensions require more detailed discussions. In particular, more work needs to be done to protect North-South cooperation between Ireland and Northern Ireland. Today, that cooperation is embedded in the common framework of the EU law and EU policies. We need to better understand how the UK intends of ensuring the continuation of this cooperation after Brexit. We also agreed that the UK should clarify in the next session how it intends on maintaining the common travel area after leaving the EU. Enfin,
finally, on the other separation issues, we had an exchange of views on the scope, on the means of providing legal clarity where Brexit creates uncertainties, for example, for goods on the market, but also for police cooperation, for citizens or companies involved in pending legal procedures. And we have explained our positions on the basis of the 7 position papers which we published and on which we have been able to work. We have taken note of positions and clarifications from the United Kingdom on certain points and on their intention to clarify their positions in upcoming negotiating rounds. So, as I say, by way of conclusion, the first round was about organisation. This week has been about presentation. The third round must be about clarification. And we require this clarification on the financial settlement, on citizens' rights, on Ireland, with the 2 key points of the Common Travel Area and the Good Friday Agreement, and on the other separation issues, where this week's experience has quite simply shown that we make better progress where our respective positions are clear. So, David, over to you.
Thank you, Michel. Thank you for your contribution and indeed your team's constructive talks this week. On Monday, we agreed to get down to the need to get down to serious business. But before turning to the substance, I want to reiterate the 4
We're going to say goodbye to viewers on BBC Two, but here on the BBC News channel, continue to watch discussions from Brussels.
Constructively as a full and responsible member state. Second, we continue to work hard and at pace. We had 98 civil servants here this week. Third, we negotiate for every nation and region of the United Kingdom. Our goal is to secure a deal that works for all parts of the country. And finally, we will keep Parliament and the public informed as negotiations unfold. Which moves me on to the substance. Overall, I am encouraged by the progress we have made on understanding each other's positions on citizens' rights, the financial settlement, the first meetings of subgroups on separation issues, and on the issues around Ireland and Northern Ireland. Since the first round of negotiations, the UK has published its approach to citizens' rights. The talks this week have demonstrated this is both a fair and serious offer. I am pleased by the progress we have made. We've looked at each other's proposals in depth and identified many concrete areas where we agree, as well as areas where there will be further discussion and which will be a priority for the next round, as Michel said. We've also agreed to publishing a joint paper today that sets out the many areas of convergence in our proposals and the areas we need to prioritise for future discussion in our future rounds. Michel listed a number of the areas which require that future discussion, and I won't reiterate them. I'll add to them issues like voters' rights, postal workers, and of course, as he said, the need for shared certainty. We agree on the need for certainty on the part of citizens both of the EU and the UK, we obviously have different views on how we achieve that. On financial settlement, we both recognise the importance of sorting out the obligations we have to one another, both legally and in a spirit of mutual cooperation. We've had robust but constructive talks this week. Clearly, there's a lot left to talk about and further work before we can resolve this. Ultimately, getting to a solution will require flexibility from both sides. But as Michel said, we shouldn't expect incremental progress in every round. On Ireland and Northern Ireland, our coordinators, because this is a discussion rather than a working group, our coordinators have had a good discussion. Both sides remain committed to the Good Friday Agreement, again as Michel said, and achieving a flexible and imaginative solutions to address unique circumstances around the border, and particularly on the north-south dimension of the agreement. And these include the mechanisms that we have discussed to preserve the common travel area and the rights associated with it. Rights laid down, of course, in a British Act of Parliament, as well as in part, at least in the Amsterdam Treaty. On separation issues, we've made progress on a range of issues. Michel mentioned most of them. Euratom, legal cases pending before the European Court of Justice, and administrative procedures before the Union institutions, and, of course, goods on the market. These discussions have laid important groundwork for progress in the next round. All in all, the second round of negotiations has given us a lot to be positive about. And they've also highlighted the need for both sides to demonstrate a dynamic and flexible approach in the way we approach these challenges. We've conducted this round constructively and at pace, and I hope this is a model we can continue going forward. To coin a phrase, Michel, the clock is ticking.
That's true.
I came here saying it was important that we now made progress, identifying the differences so that we could deal with them, and finding the similarities so that we could reinforce them. And this week, I think we've done just that. Thank you.
Thank you.